I am unashamed. What about you?
So we want to welcome a couple of our friends and guests on the Unashamed podcast. You guys are piping into the Unashamed lair. We've got Adam LaRoche and Matt Light, two of our hunting buddies, and just good friends from way back. So welcome to Unashamed.
Thank you, boys. Good to see you again.
Y'all could not be any further apart.
One of them is a snow. I see snow behind Matt, which I expected Adam, and Adam's like in someplace sunny. Where are you at, Adam?
I'm way down south. I am down in Key West.
Oh, there you go.
At a wedding.
Key West, older brother's getting married. Well, it's a bachelor party, so it's a rowdy
I
one.
figured it was just the life of ex-professional athletes, that you would just be in exotic locations every time, you zoom in.
It's funny. I retired from one and started up about 3 more, so I think it's busier now than when I actually had a job.
What about you, Matt? Do you miss the old days, the old sports days?
Well, maybe a little bit, especially this time of year when the playoffs are on and everybody's kind of thinking, back to their days when they were playing and either wanting to be in the Super Bowl or having had the experience. And I just want to point out that there is a very noted difference between the football realm and the baseball realm, and it's represented in what you see right now. So
you're tougher.
Guys, we don't get a whole lot of the creature comforts that the baseball guys get to have on a regular basis. So yeah, I'm sitting here freezing while Adam's down there in paradise hanging out in Margaritaville.
Well, the careers are typically longer, Steve, for the baseball guy. Not always, but typically. Of course, your old teammate is still going strong. Was he 20? Brady's 21 years, Matt? I mean, now
21 years in, he's a 43-year-old man playing with a whole bunch of kids and doing it at a high level. It's kind of hard to believe, but look, the cool thing. Oh, hey, there goes a pheasant. Hey, did you guys hear that thing?
What was a pheasant?
Cockbird going crazy back here.
Yeah.
But I had the awesome kind of experience of having Drew Brees and Tom Brady as my quarterbacks. And fact that both those guys are still playing at a high level is pretty incredible.
Yeah. And got to play for the championship.
I think this is his 10th Super Bowl.
No, it's yeah, that's right. 14 championships games.
10th Super Bowl.
Which is just insane.
How does that happen? It's crazy.
Adam, how many years did you play baseball?
I got 12 in the major leagues, and I think 16 or something all together. So
right,
it was fun, but I'm glad it's over. On to the next thing.
That's exactly
been good.
Right.
We were laughing before because the first time I met Adam's wife, of course, we've hunted together many times. I flew in to Kansas, and his wife picked me up in this. I don't know what kind of car it was. I think you had gotten it for some gift or something. It was like really nice. Middle of the night, it's midnight. And I mean, I just met her. And we're going through some dark field, and she looks at me and she says, "Would you like a massage?" And I couldn't remember what I said. Adam, do you remember what I said in response?
Yeah, what did she say?
I think, man, because we laugh. I'm not kidding you. Once or twice a year, that gets brought up, and we die laughing. I think you looked at her after a long pause and said, "Jen, I'm not sure how I should take that."
Because I didn't know that cars had a seat that would massage you. I had no idea. That was revolutionary.
Oh, and the seat was going to give you the massage.
But I thought, this is Adam's wife.
Jace,
what is up with these Major League Baseball players and these women?
You're a young buck. Always remember this. I mean, I'm in my 70s. I never mix massage with females in any capacity at any time.
That was what was going through my mind. So now, that happened years ago. And every couple of months, Adam sends me a text. Would you like a massage? And it's still as funny today as it was back then.
Well, especially us knowing Jen. I mean, the fact that your mind would
assumed I knew that this car, because she was telling me about the car, and it just But it's good.
First time.
That's another
good
baseball
stuff.
thing, right? You'd never have a football wife say that to you. I'm just saying, we don't have vehicles like that.
Never. And the last time I saw you, Matt, we were actually at a Super Bowl party or watch, and I think we were in New Orleans.
That's right. Yeah,
Which
we had
is-
a good time down in New Orleans, and I honestly can't even tell you who the two teams that were playing were. I don't know if that was Breeze's.
No,
I
that
guess that
was
wasn't the Breeze
no. I
Super
tell you who
Bowl.
it was. It was the Ravens and the 49ers.
That's who it was.
And that's when Kaepernick.
right.
Remember, he was maybe only his second year, and they were already in the Super Bowl. I don't remember who did the Ravens win.
Who won that Super Bowl?
I think the Ravens won.
I went to that Super Bowl. It's the only Super
That's
Bowl I
pretty
went,
sad.
and I can't even remember who won.
I think it was the Ravens.
Yeah.
And you're calling me a young buck?
Yeah, around here, you guys appreciate this. Dad still calls us the Young Bucks. I said, Dad, I'm 56 years old. I left Young Buck a long time ago. But compared to him and Si, we are the Young Buck.
Yeah.
Our blind has aged.
Well, when you marry and people are just out of puberty, you can have children
That's right.
that will catch up with you. Y'all are gray beards like me now. We're all gray beards.
Well, I said that when we were looking before we started filming. I said my nose keeps getting more crooked because I was seeing it because I've had it broken so many times. And Phil said, "Hey, when you get my age, everything gets crooked."
I was just giving you young bucks some encouraging words, things to look forward to.
I don't know what that means, but it's scary.
There comes a time when the big question before you go to sleep is, what is tonight? Is it either sex or popcorn? You find yourself saying, let's go with the popcorn. I'm just giving you a little LaRoche, something to look forward to, my man.
Dang it, I'm not there yet.
Yeah, he just
shoot.
celebrated 20 years. He's got a while to go.
Yeah, congratulations.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm
Thank
pretty
you.
good at multitasking. I can eat popcorn and carry on as well.
That's a good point.
Hey,
That's a thought. He says both. He's like
Oh.
radio, both. So the reason we wanted you guys to come on here is you guys had an interesting thing happen. That's a charity that you guys work on. So I want you to tell our audience not only about what you're doing now, and which is awesome, by the way, what you guys are doing to help people with this trafficking, but also then we want them to know about this big challenge going on with the Shermanator and all that. So y'all go tell us what's happening.
Yeah, Matt, you want me to start it?
Yeah, hit it.
Yeah. So, well, for one, I've known Sherman and some of those guys for, a few years. And man, I'll say one thing about Anthony Sherman, which, by the way, he's our Chiefs fullback. He's been there for 10 years or 10 or 11 years, something like that. And that dude, every time we have soldiers in for the foundation and we bring guys into the ranch to come on a deer hunt or turkey hunt or whatever excuse we can come up with to have them out, he will drop what he's doing and drive down from Kansas City to come help us serve those guys. So he'll always bring down teammates and bring down new guys. And so that being said, the last time he was down, he got the idea that he wanted to prank me after being warned by, I think Grant and Jordan and Tombo, some of the Buck Commander crew that's probably a bad call. And I have a tendency to go over the top in the retaliation. And
by the way,
against,
LaRoche, you just described the entire Buck Commander. I mean, you guys killed a lot of really big bucks and a lot of great animals, but I would say about half that show could be a prank show as well as a hunting show. You guys do a lot of that.
No doubt. So we've had a ton of experience, and apparently Sherm hadn't been keeping up with the Buck Commander episodes. But so he decides to go to Sam's Club, I think, and buy a pallet of Oreos. And he comes down, and I go out on the cookie.
Yeah. A pallet.
A pallet of Oreo cookies. So I think it was 12 to 14,000 individual Oreo cookies that he dumped in the top of my sunroof in my truck. So that obviously gave me, then I had full permission to retaliate.
Yeah.
And after thinking on it and thinking
creative.
it was good. It was good. I don't know if you guys have seen a video of it. We'll have to get you a short clip over because it's pretty funny. Like I go open the door and about 1,000 of them come rolling out.
Cole, can you get that, Cole? Yeah, so we're gonna run that on the podcast so our audience can watch that.
Yeah. Oh, it's hilarious. And I'm still pulling them out of vents and compartments. And, that was 2 months ago. So we the last couple months, knowing that Sherm absolutely loves his Ford F-250, King Ranch, jacked. He's had it like he's had the outside wrapped and, all kinds of extras on it.
It's
that
got
was going to be the target.
It's really nice. Massaging seats and that thing.
I think so. King Ranch edition.
Oh yeah, they do. Mine does.
So I wanted to give it away, but make it look like he was giving it away. And then knowing Matt is the king of pranks from his years in the NFL and having done this for a long time. So I brought Matt into it and, we just started putting our heads together, built a website, got access from some other Chiefs players, Dustin Colquitt and James Winchester, a couple weeks prior to get into his phone. So those guys secretly got the password to his phone. And then I think last Friday, when Sherman went out on the field for practice, those guys snuck in, cracked into his phone, and then tweeted out from his account that he was giving his truck away to benefit the E3 Foundation. And you can go to this website and, all these other things.
Oh, my word.
If you spend I think if you buy $1,000 in tickets, you get a Jason Aldean or Luke Bryan signed guitar, and then some other players have thrown in jerseys and stuff. So, but initially, the funniest part was everybody thought he was doing it. So Simon, at the same time when he came off the field, I had a video waiting for him, and a guy handed him a camera with me on it, and I said, Sherm, and I told him exactly what just happened.
Yeah.
And then I said, you basically have two options. You can look like the world's biggest jerk and basically tell the world that your truck is more important than our soldiers and victims of human trafficking. Or you can jump on board the Sherm Fights for Freedom bandwagon and be the hero that Matt and I are telling the world you are. So all these guys with big followings tweet out to millions of people like, can't believe our boy Sherm. He's such a patriot. What a great dude.
You actually did him a favor. It was a prank with a perk.
It was. And
That's right.
man, he took it great. It's just been a blast. Matt and I have got to go on some radio shows and some of the national sports shows and talk about it. So Matt, go ahead.
Yeah, listen, I mean, I think the most amazing part to me is the realization, right? So, I would say a solid month went into the planning of this thing. And over that month period of time, just like any prank that you ever pull, you're always asking yourself, at what point does this thing get ruined? At what point does he find out? At what point does one aspect not come together? The website doesn't work. The launch doesn't go well. We can't get into his Twitter account. Like, when's it going to happen? And the best part about this one is it never happened. I mean, it went flawlessly, and everybody, as a famous coach of mine used to say all the time, do your job, right? And everybody did their job. And Colquitt, he was unbelievable in this. That's the Chiefs punter.
I was going to say, he's the punter,
he's
right?
in the locker room. He's working with these guys. He's seeing everything from the inside out, and the timing went great. But when Sherm walks back in the facility after having launched this epic fundraiser to fight a really important need that he has no idea about, one of his coaches come up to him and they say, hey, Sherm, I just got to congratulate you, man. That's awesome what you're doing with your truck. And of course, he has no idea what this cat's telling him. Well, as he's walking back by him, he grabs him and says, hey, man, what'd you say about my truck? Like, and I didn't get that. And he's like, well, what you're doing to raise money. That's awesome. So that moment right there was what made all of the month-long preparation worth it. And it's been a lot of fun to see how far this thing's gone since then.
All right, let's take a break. So one of our favorite sponsors, one that Jason and I love, and Dad would if he understood what it was about, is called Annie's Kit Clubs. And basically, it's a company that realize what we talk about a lot on this podcast is that you don't want your kids spending too much time on devices, which they entirely do in our culture. In fact, it's kind of become a babysitter for kids, which is not healthy. There's too much bad stuff out there, not to mention just too much screen time is not good for them either. So what they've done is they've come up with a solution for parents to help you. They have these, they call them kit clubs. It's a subscription box that comes in for boys or girls. The boys one, they primarily aim you towards for boys, is Young Woodworkers Kit Club. And basically they send you stuff that they can do woodworking, do projects, and you get a new one every month to work on. The other one for the girls is called Annie's Creative Girls Club, which sends 2 craft projects every month. So great way to develop skills, master real world stuff that they can use. So it make a great gift. You go to annieskitclubs.com, ANNIES kitclubs.com/Phil. They're going to give you 75% off your first shipment, which is a great deal. annieskitclubs.com/Phil, and get some creativity to your kids.
That's a good idea.
Great idea. Yeah, I mean, it really is. It fits you guys so well because it's the stuff you guys do to each other all the time. In this case, it had an outcome that's really going to be helpful for a lot of people. Adam, tell a little bit about what E3 Foundation, what you guys do.
And this started, it started out with our combat warriors, and it started really when I was playing in DC, and I got to go spend a lot of time at Walter Reed, which is our military hospital there, and just seeing these kids right off the battlefield that maybe lost a leg or both legs, and seeing them there with their wives or their fiancés or their parents. And it was amazing and I kid you not, almost every one of them in there wasn't feeling sorry for themselves. They weren't thinking about what's next. They were just thinking, how can I get fixed up to get back overseas with my boys and get back in the fight? They felt like they were letting the team down. So yeah, I got a little bit of an inside look at that kind of brotherhood, and then thinking, man, how can we, what can we do for these guys? So we'd start bringing them out to the field from time to time, just give them a change of scenery, come out to the Nationals ballpark and come, take batting practice with us or hitting the cage or, come do their rehab out there. And then I started thinking about this ranch we had in Kansas and how could we use this for more of kingdom work? Can we host these guys and bring them out and just love on them? So we started doing that. About a year or two later, I got introduced to the sex trafficking fight, which just absolutely wrecked me. And then obviously that made it easy to step away from the game in 2016 and really dive in headfirst and onto the counter trafficking side. So kind of 2 parts to answer your question. We like to serve our vets and then support groups doing really good in the counter trafficking work, which is why this is such a cool prank, like you said, because not only did we get him back, we gave his truck away, which was his pride and joy, but also get to raise a bunch of money that'll go back into our Kansas City trafficking initiative.
Yeah, which is awesome. So Matt, tell folks how that. If they want to try to win this truck, what do you do? I mean, we got a big audience. I'm sure there's some guys out here that are like, I'd like to. And look, by the way, I've been following it on Twitter. So I saw the truck. It's way cool. It's got like an American flag on the fuel door. I mean, he's got some really tricked out stuff on it. It looks really awesome. What would folks do if they wanted to be a part of it?
It is. It's real easy to jump in on this opportunity. You can go to shermfightsforfreedom.org. Shermfightsforfreedom.org. And not only do you get a chance at winning his truck, but there's some other incredible packages that are going to be part of this sweepstakes. And you can get entries, where, you for as little as $20, you can win an opportunity at this truck. But there's some other incredible packages that come with this thing. You've got a hunt that's going to be at the E3. That'll be part of this package. Wow. For those that would love to go out and see, what they get, a kind of behind the scenes look at through Buck Commander and Adams Ranch and the whole nine, where they host a number of these combat warriors, through the E3 Ranch Foundation. You can also get signed jerseys because so many of Sherm's teammates have stepped up to help, get the word out and create the hype on this thing. And I think it's also fun to note, that this thing was featured on Ellen the other day. It's got a lot of play, from his teammates, of course, like I noted. And everybody really has done a great job of bringing awareness to the work that Adam and his team do to help fight what is a big fight in the human trafficking realm, as well as the support for our military men and women.
Awesome.
Great job.
Well, I think.
Yeah, and I'll just
Go ahead, Em.
sorry, I'll just add to that with a couple teammates jumping on board. Right away, Travis Kelsey jumps in and says he'll give basically unlimited jerseys. So anybody who spends, I think it's $2,500 on these chances to win Sherm's truck, Travis is going to sign a jersey for him. And then Mahomes came in, I think yesterday, and said anybody who's buys $3,000 worth of chances, Mahomes is going to sign him one of their authentic jerseys. So really cool to see his teammates step up and back him, and I think just really shows you, the respect he has in that clubhouse and what those guys think of him.
Well, it's interesting.
Well, and let's not forget one important aspect, and this will be great for a lot of your viewers. And this is probably the thing that Sherman wanted to make sure that the world really understood about this prize package. And that is, he's still got about 50,000 miles left on his warranty. So let's keep that in mind.
Hey, Matt is not kidding. That was, he wanted to get that point across. But wait a minute, I still got another 4 years or 48,000 miles on that warranty. Make sure you tell everybody that.
You know what I love about
love this guy.
whole story is that on our podcast here, which is called Unashamed, because that's what we are, for Jesus. But we talk all the time about people living their lives, with a purpose. And that purpose is just being Christ guys as we go through and do what we do. Obviously, we like to hunt. You guys are, played in the NFL and the MLB. But you guys, just by this, you guys have fun with that. Athletes seem to prank more than anybody else, just the fraternity of it, I guess. Same with Buck Commander. But here was a situation where you guys were just having fun doing what you do. And yet look at the blessing that's coming out from the back end of that thing. And so I think it fits our message of what we have for this podcast, that, we can live for Jesus. That just means that we do what he's called us to do. And, you get to enjoy life. It's fun. People think Christianity is dull, but look, you guys are a perfect example. There's nothing dull about all that story. And yet look what's going to happen as a result of it. You guys are going to raise a lot of money that's going to help a lot of people.
Yeah.
That's right, Alan.
Yeah, and and I think that speaks to also, what a lot of people don't realize, about the sports realm is that, it's that kind of brotherhood. It's the trust between the players that enables you to be able to do things like this. Because if we didn't trust each other, we would never, poke fun or have fun at this extreme, right? It's because we do believe in each other. And the locker rooms that I was a part of, when you had teams that trusted each other the way, this Kansas City team trust each other and the way that they support each other, I think that's an incredible message to send above and beyond just the work and their athletic ability. It's what these guys do to make an impact in their communities. Here's a guy using the biggest stage on earth, the Super Bowl and the platform and the work that he's done. And he's parlaying that into something that is going to be life-changing and impactful. And that's awesome. That's something you get excited about.
Oh, yeah.
Y'all have given new meaning to love your neighbor.
That's exactly
Well,
right.
especially in our culture of sensitivity and social distancing, it's nice to have something fun where when you look at the big picture, you're celebrating one of the pillars that made this country great, are these men who are willing, men and women who will sacrifice, their life, limb, and their life, and protecting the innocent, which is, close to my heart. Missy had a ministry where she, helped women come out of sex trafficking in the United States, little girls who are being used a lot of times by their parents as a way to make money, which is unbelievable that somebody could even do. And then here you have years later, it's tough for these women to find any kind of purpose and meaning in life who have been through that. So I just want to commend you guys for getting behind that and doing it in a fun way, to draw attention so that, the big picture can move on.
We appreciate
Thanks,
you
Jay.
guys being on Unashamed podcast. You're welcome. Sometime we'll have to have you back and just find out what other crazy stuff you got going on. The next prank, because who knows what that's going to bring, right?
Hey, anytime, boys. We would love to.
Well, you guys,
Love to.
we love you guys both for our faith connection, also our love of the outdoors and hunting, and just appreciate what you guys do. Keep it up.
I appreciate you. Thank you.
So, Jace, you ever looking for ways to save money?
Sure.
Always,
me.
right?
Yeah.
I've got something for you here. You could save an extra $961 a year simply if you checked out the guys at Gabby's Insurance. That's almost $1,000, Dad, that they could save you. And you say, well, how could they do that? Because they go and look for insurance quotes for you, via the internet, which Dad knows nothing about. And you wouldn't have to do it, Dad, because Gabby Insurance would do it for you.
They find you the best deals, I guess.
Find you the best deals. And so they find the savings. And so they'll never sell your info, no annoying spam, no robocalls. It's a good company. So if you're overpaying or you feel like you may be overpaying on your car or your home insurance, check out Gabby. The way you do that is you go to Gabby, GABI.com/unashamed. That's GABI.com/unashamed. Find out if they can save a little bit of money, maybe up to $1,000. Not bad, huh, Dad?
That was fun.
Yeah. I love those guys.
The last time I was with Adam, which is, I guess, a year or two ago, I forgot. I think I went duck hunting up there, but I just went up there to see him.
His ranch is in Kansas.
Yeah.
And then you're always talking about Kansas. How far is it from where you
It's
hunt?
probably an hour and a half.
Okay.
And so he was like, you better come see me. So he heard I was up there duck hunting. So I rode up there one night. We duck hunted. I went up to his ranch, just showed up. And remember old Mike Miller, the turkey killer, he was up there. And so I go into Adam's house, and he asked me a biblical question. And it was before dark. We sat there and studied the Bible until it got daylight the next morning.
You and Adam?
Yeah. I mean, there's very few times have I done something like that, but it just shows you his heart for God and wanting to do the right things and study. And I mean, it was an all night volunteer Bible study. I just thought that was incredible.
Well, one of the things I meant to mention this, but I forgot when we were talking to him. But one of the things, when he mentioned about leaving the game and now being able to do what he does, but he didn't go in the details about that. But that was an amazing story. He was playing for the White Sox, and he had always had his son. And I guess this goes back to probably when he was a little boy, always around the clubhouse because he wanted him to not miss out on his kids, because he loves his kids. So he wanted him in that clubhouse, meeting other players and, and him being in his life. So that every team that he ever played for was like, no problem. We encourage that. That's good. And his last stint, he was with the White Sox. And I don't remember how much he had left on his contract, but, several $1 million.
Oh, it was double digit. I mean, it was like over 10.
13 million or something like that.
Yeah.
So, I don't know the details, but somehow somebody supposedly complained about him having Drake, his son, around in the clubhouse because maybe it violated something they had. And so basically they just went to him and said, he's not going to be able to hang out here. And so Adam just said, well, if he ain't welcome, then I'm out of here. I'll retire.
Well, and most
serious.
people thought it was stupid because he turned down however many million it was to do that. But anybody who knows him, I was not surprised.
I wouldn't either.
At all. And he's looking at it like, and we always talk about these priorities.
Right.
Yeah, you have God, your family, people. Baseball was down his list.
And we were talking about in the last podcast about how people view them. And he got, I would say, is at least as much or more negativity about it from people saying, well, that's your work. You shouldn't, I can't take my kid to work. There was a lot of negativity around his decision, but I sent him a text immediately. I was like, Adam LaRoche, that is, to me, the best picture of a dad that you could ever have, that you said, you know what, I don't care what money you're talking about. It's not worth more than my relationship with my kid.
And does it shock you that, before we we filmed that talking to him. I was talking about what his kids were doing, and he was like, his daughter's a missionary in a foreign country, right. And I'm like, okay, when you make those types of decisions, your kids take notice.
That's right.
Yeah.
Because basically his son realized that day that my dad views our relationship more than he does $15 million.
Right.
That's a pretty good foundation for
success. If I have the gift of prophecy and can fathom all mysteries and all knowledge, and if I have a faith that can move mountains, but have not love, I'm nothing. If I give all I possess to the poor and surrender my body to the flames, but have not love, I gain nothing. There's a lesson in there, boys.
That's exactly right.
Exactly.
And I think those guys show it. And, of course, Matt, the first time I met him, I think maybe he was in his last season. I don't know if he spent his whole career.
In New England?
Yeah, I think he spent his whole career in
I think he did.
Several Super Bowls. Obviously, he was an impressive guy. He either just retired or was about to when I first met him. But, man, just same experience as you, Jess. We were sitting in a restaurant, and, you know, it's at SHOT Show, and there's a lot of people, and I just happened to be sitting next to Matt. And people are eating and visiting and laughing, and it's loud. But we kind of were in close together. We started talking about the Bible and about his spiritual life and how it guided him and with his family and all that. And it was like we were alone. We were in a huge restaurant in Vegas on the Strip. All these conversations going on, but we're just kind of dialed in. And I was so impressed. I just thought, man, because, you know, you think about pro athletes and so many negative stories about it, but then you run up on a guy like this, and I knew he liked to hunt, but still, I mean,
what's so weird is we were on Bourbon Street at the Super Bowl at a house gathering. There were more professional athletes. You know, I was with Willie, and that's where we were, and that's where I met him, and we're sitting there talking because I'll never forget it, because I felt like there weren't a whole lot of sober people there. You know, we're so look here. I'm on the couch.
That's shocking. Are you saying there are drunk people on Bourbon Street?
Yeah. Now look here. Here's you're going to find this fascinating. I'm sitting there talking to Matt Light, you know, lineman from New England Patriots. Beside me was Johnny Manziel, and he was sober too.
Really?
Oh yeah. And we're talking about, you know, biblical things and like, because I don't know, there was tons of people there, but we just found ourselves, that was the crew that I had.
Well, it's kind of funny because in a setting like that, you know, Mike Kellett always used to say that at a youth rally, the bad kids are always going to find each other at a youth rally. In this case, in a drunk setting, the good people, the ones who are sober are going to find.
I know a lot of people may think, you know, it's been chronicled, you know, Johnny Manziel's troubles, but that's a true fact. He was, you know, I'm not sure what year we could look back in his career when that was, but it was just a cool experience. But that's how I met him, and I really liked, you know, what he had to say, and I'm not shocked that they're behind doing something that's helping these people.
So let's take another break. One of the things the coronavirus has done is it has definitely increased weapons buying during this period of time. And, you know, a lot of it is a lot of people are buying more guns anyway, and ammo. It's hard to even find ammo, you know, for your pistols and your guns. Because everybody's like not sure. We have these riots all summer. Is the government going to protect us? And that kind of stuff hasn't seemed to go away. One of our sponsors is a company called iTarget Pro. And basically what they do is they know all of these people are buying handguns, a lot of people that don't have a lot of experience. So they give you a way to be able to practice if you can't always get to the gun range or have some property or someplace you can shoot at.
Muscle memory.
And so basically you set it up on your phone. It's got a laser bullet in the gun, and then you shoot at a target from whatever range that you're looking at, and your phone tells you whether you're on target or not.
You're doing this in your hallway.
In your hallway, that's exactly right. In your own house or out in your yard.
So Star Wars for adults.
It really is. It's a great idea, and it helps teach you shoot better. So you can save 10%, and you get free shipping if you use the offer code PHIL when you go to iTarget Pro, the letter I, targetpro.com. 10% off, free shipping. Use that offer code PHIL, iTarget Pro. I want to mention that, Jace, because I think it was the last podcast you were talking about when you work with people, and everybody's flawed. So to say flawed people, we're all flawed. But if you work with people that a lot of times other people just write off, it does open up doors. And so the reason we know Adam and Matt is because somewhere Willie got into the Major League Baseball world, and kind of got behind the curtain of, because they're a very tight fraternity, and started sharing Jesus with people, and some people started coming around, and then it was like, well, Willie's okay to talk to, but I mean, a lot of people came to Christ, and so that's how he found Adam. Through those relationships, and then that led to Buck Commander, which has some other former Major League players on it,
and country music singers.
Right, Luke Bryan.
I went on one trip with them, but I'm not a deer hunter, and I only deer hunt for food, and they shoot these big bucks. And
well, LaRoche will shoot anything. Like he's shot mountain lions with a bow. I mean, he's into it.
Well, but I mean, I like ducks, so I just didn't. I felt kind of out of place, and they're all, I don't know, famous guys, and they're more pranksters. I'm more the dry humor. I don't like somebody like I'm looking over both shoulders everywhere I go.
It's more jocular than we're.
Yeah, they do. They set off a grenade one time, which they apologize for that.
Oh, there's been a lot of damage to stuff.
You watch some of that stuff, and they're like, "Oh, might ought to pull back. Went a little too far."
If you're into that, though, check out Buck Commander on Outdoor Channel because it's one prank and big dead animal after another.
I'm kind of like dry, safe humor. I'm not, but remember, that's why Willie and I fought so much as kids.
I try to stay away from explosive devices.
Yeah, and people like
at all costs
putting their hands on me. They wrestle.
Oh, they fight,
and they
fight.
Yeah, that's just what they do.
Play
and
fights.
I graduated out of that at about 12, but it's okay that they do that.
We're not talking about it.
That's why Willie and I used to fight so much, because he was all the time setting up little pranks.
Right.
So I would just like, if we're going to fight, let's fight, and the rest is competition. But he would set up booby traps. That was his idea of fun. So, because whenever one of us would get in trouble, and you probably remember this, we would run, and the back door would never lock in a way where you had to turn the knob. If you hit it with enough force,
it just flew open.
It would fly open.
It didn't quite catch.
So every time we would get in trouble, we would hit that back door. I mean, you just run and you'd hit it wide open. So Willie put a board, because he knew that. He put a board about ankle high. And didn't say anything. And the next time I got in trouble, I took off running. When I hit that door, well, that board caught my ankles, and I just facial. And he's ha ha ha. That was his idea of this
Ladies
is fun.
and gentlemen, you've just heard a rundown on the making of the redneck mind.
And there were many, many episodes between those two doing that kind of stuff.
But it was just kind of the way to him. He didn't really mean anything by it. Right. So, but that was his idea of.
Well, usually when the pranks would happen between y'all, or even me to a certain extent, someone got hurt.
Yeah.
There was a lot of injuries.
See, I like this prank where the guy...
Nobody got hurt on this, except he lost his truck.
All right. Well, right. But that's a good prank. But a lot of their pranks deals with some kind of, hospital visit, or that it just went wrong.
Yeah, that is part of the problem. Well, to Adam's thing about the two kind of aspects of E3, his foundation, I know that the military side is a big part of it. And of course, there's a lot of guys that in the hunting world, you see a lot of vets, obviously, that grew up hunting.
Yeah, we have a group of vets coming down Sunday.
Yeah.
They allowed them, the government officials allowed to have one more hunt in February.
Which I love the idea.
I never have seen that. But there's about 7 or 8 of them they're on the premises tomorrow. Stone's going to cook for him.
I gave an opinion.
His old buddy he stayed with for a year in Afghanistan, the same tent. He's showing back up.
So next week we're gonna talk about the hunt, Dad, because next week we're having Matt Light, who's a buddy of mine initially, but now he and Stone are buds.
Yep.
And he works for a group called 9 Line, so we're going to talk about that. So he and Stone are going to be on the podcast when Jason's going to be out of town, so he's going to...
Yeah. Well, they do that and I had pitched that idea to many government officials. I'm not sure that's why it ever happened, but
we didn't know. Jase has a lot of pull. We had no idea.
Well, when Trump Jr., when we went hunting, that was one. I was like, we're talking about the president of the United States here. When he was elected as president, so I thought I'm going to give him everything I can think of that's good, and maybe. So that was one of the things. It's like we should. Take kids hunting. Mm-hmm. Of course, I was doing it all in the vein of opening up the sanctuaries because I don't like it where you domesticate the ducks. I want to keep them wild. I don't want to have any places where they can go.
They don't act like themselves.
Yeah, and if you're like, well, what are you talking about? The same thing happens like golf courses have turned into that thing. Ducks figured out because they're using all this fertilizer and planting all this grass and all this feed and there's water when you can't hunt them. So they just said, hey, this is welfare. The only thing
you got to watch out for is a stray golf ball every once in a while. But other than that, we're safe here.
We're safe. So, and I've actually had the opportunity to hunt a golf course pond, and it's awesome. But
so not all of them are safe.
Well, right. It's frowned upon. But a lot of people would think, but I don't like it that, number one, they destroy the golf courses, but they lose their wildness, which is not good for them long term. Right. And so, but two of the things that you think they're accomplishing, the government, which I think this is awesome, by having this weekend that's after duck season, they have the military that can
Veterans
go,
only.
and the Kids Day. The Kids is Saturday, and the
Veterans is
which
Sunday.
is the same two groups of people that Adam's Charity, which is ironic.
Yeah,
you're trying to protect the innocent, and you're trying to lift up our military and the guys who have served, especially, the ones Adam, he's helping. I mean, just think about what they've given up to make this country great. And I feel like that people forget that as American citizens. I mean, right. I just feel like that somehow, we say never forget, but I feel like they do. Mm-hmm. And so those two groups, man, that's where you need to step up. That's why I love what they're doing.
Let's take another break.
I was just thinking when he brought up talking about this human trafficking problem, and we continued even talking after we quit filming about it. You could see his passion and how much of a problem it is, and he brought up the fact, because I think we need to have him on and do a whole show, because he was talking about this social media aspect now is a lot of how this is getting started. These old boys get in there and manipulate the minds of, young girls, and the next thing you know,
and young boys,
they're in and they're in a situation where, it's hard to blame them for being manipulated in right. this situation. So they're trying to help it. But if you want to know, always think about Jesus' words on how serious he took something like that. When in Matthew 18, he has this, that's titled The Greatest in the Kingdom of Heaven. And in verse 2, he said he called a little child, which represents the innocent, is my point, and had him stand among them and said, I tell you the truth, unless you change and become like little children, you will never enter the kingdom of heaven. Therefore, whoever humbles himself like this child is the greatest in the kingdom of heaven. And we know the innocence that represents, but also them being naive and trusting, of authority. But then he says this, and whoever welcomes a little child like this in my name welcomes me. But if anyone causes one of these little ones who believe in me to stumble, it would be better for him to have a large millstone hung around his neck and to be drowned in the depths of the sea. So, it's he gives you the picture here of this is something that we need to take serious. In this light, he was like causing them to one day stumble, which is the same thing which has happened in the human trafficking. They take the innocent, they abuse them, they use them, for financial gain. But what they really do is they cause them so much problems after that, even if they get detached
right.
from their own lives, because you just think, how do you survive in this? Well, the sad thing is, I think those that Adam and them are helping, most of those people, they're just trying to make a buck, and they've devalued human life so much to where you would take your own offspring and use it as a way for money. How far down deep into darkness have you gone deep to where you can do that?
Which, a lot of us tied up in this opioid addiction too, because these people are addicts.
Right.
And all of a sudden, what are you going to get to make money for your next hit? Well, you'll start looking around. I guess it'll be the kiddos.
Yep.
I mean, just that's how warped it can get,
Well, I've heard story after story, with my wife's ministry, that she would help those girls, and sad that they were almost the same type stories, except the details were more graphic and it's just horrible. I mean, you're just unimaginable that family members would do that. Of course, drugs are involved, but still, just to get that far down of making one bad decision after another, and to devalue human life, even your own family, and just, of course, most of their parents are all dead or in prison. Yeah. It all came to just a crashing halt. And that's why, some of you out here listening, once you start going down that road, there's no happy endings.
Yeah, you're right.
For the ones that are causing it, there's no happy ending. What Adam and them do, and my wife is involved in different things, it at least creates a happy ending for the sinned against, which are these kids who are rescued. Rehabilitated is not probably the right word, but just given a platform to start over, despite, because I can't imagine having to overcome all that. Of course, ultimately, we know that Jesus can provide, that ultimate platform. I
know part of what they're specifically using this money for, that they're raising from this one project from Sherm's truck, is that a 30-day house to be able to just step out of where they've been in this terrible situation, where they know they're safe, they're protected, because they're still thinking everybody's out to get them. Some of these are very young people. And so that, Adam told me specifically, was one of the things they're doing with this project in the Kansas City area. Because every city, that's what you have to have. You got to have warriors like what these guys are doing that are able to do it. We know a lot of ex-military and a lot of current law enforcement guys that they'll take their vacation and they'll go to a foreign country just to rescue kids who are being trafficked. And I just look at it because they've got the expertise to do it. But look, some of them, I'm sure, that's probably not. I mean, they're probably putting their life on the line and everything else to be able to do that. Oh, yeah. And yet they're willing to do it, which is, because the Bible talks about protecting the innocent. Like you said, the millstone. I don't want to be that person.
Well, you just see how strongly he views that.
Right.
I mean, that's what we're supposed to be here for. I mean, if we can't do that, this country will just be poof.
That's exactly right.
That's why we're so adamant about whether they're unborn or they're kids who are being abused. But somebody has to stand up and protect the innocent.
Right.
And I just feel like, I know it's men and women should do that, but just as a man, I just feel like that's just something I need to do when the opportunities come up.
Yeah. Well, I guess that'll do us for today. Since you brought that up about the fight for the unborn, I mentioned this last year. There was a movie called Roe versus Wade, and I didn't think it was ever going to get made. It really goes in behind the scenes and tells what happens on the court case and all that. And I had a small, tiny cameo role in the movie. And so I'll tell you more. It's finally going to get released April 2nd. So we're supposed to have a private screening. I want to see it. It'll be the best 20 seconds of your life, the part I'm in on the movie. But the big picture of what it tells is really powerful. So I'll tell more about it in a future episode.
And before that, do y'all have a Super Bowl prediction?
Now
this will run after the Super Bowl.
That's right.
I want to get you on record.
Here's my take. I think Kansas City will win, but I'm going to be pulling for Tampa Bay because for the first time ever, I've always pulled against Brady. I don't know why, just because he was good, I guess, and New England was so good. But now he's like the underdog, and he went down there to Tampa, and all of a sudden they're in the Super Bowl, and I'm just like, I'd kind of like to see him win.
But after hearing about all the Chiefs,
I know.
I'm all Chiefs now. Chiefs by 20.
I think the Chiefs are going to win. but I'm pulling for Brady.
Yeah.
That's where I'm at.
I would rather the Chiefs win, but never underestimate Brady.
Okay,
So you think
we
Tampa
got
will win?
2 Tampas and 1 Chiefs.
Right. There you go. We'll see.
Chiefs will win.